Спасибо большое.
Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing. I think you will probably be rewarded mightily by our press.
And a major city yet to be determined in Russia.
And will you consider extraditing the 12 Russian officials that were indicted last week by a U.S. grand jury?
Well, I'm going to let the president answer the second part of that question. But as you know, the whole concept of that came up perhaps a little bit before, but it came out as a reason why the Democrats lost an election, which, frankly, they should have been able to win because the Electoral College is much more advantageous for Democrats, as you know, than it is to Republicans. We won the Electoral College by a lot, 306 to 223, I believe, and that was a well-fought battle. We did a great job. And frankly, I'm going to let the president speak to the second part of your question. But just to say it one time again, and I say it all the time, there was no collusion. I didn't know the president. There was nobody to collude with. There was no collusion with the campaign. And every time you hear all of these, 12 and 14, it's stuff that has nothing to do. And frankly, they admit these are not people involved in the campaign. But to the average reader out there, they're saying, well, maybe that does. It doesn't. And even the people involved, some perhaps told mis-stories, although in one case the FBI said there was no lie. There was no lie. Somebody else said there was. We ran a brilliant campaign, and that's why I'm president. Thank you.
Once again, President Trump mentioned the issue of the so-called interference of Russia in the American elections, and I had to reiterate things I said several times, including during our personal contacts, that the Russian state has never interfered and is not going to interfere into internal American affairs, including the election process.
Did you want
legal
President
framework.
Trump to win the election? And did you direct any of your officials to help him do that?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And speaking about having the ball in our court in Syria, President Trump has just mentioned that we've successfully concluded the World Football Cup. Speaking of the football, actually, Mr. President, I'll give this ball to you, and now the ball is in your court.
Thank you. Question for each president. President Trump, you first. Just now, President Putin denied having anything to do with the election interference in 2016. Every U.S. intelligence agency has concluded that Russia did. My first question for you, sir, is who do you believe? My second question is, would you now, with the whole world watching, tell President Putin, would you denounce what happened in 2016, and would you warn him to never do it again?
So let me just say that we have two thoughts. You have groups that are wondering why the FBI never took the server. Why haven't they taken the server? Why was the FBI told to leave the office of the Democratic National Committee? I've been wondering that. I've been asking that for months and months, and I've been tweeting it out and calling it out on social media. Where is the server? I want to know, where is the server, and what is the server saying? With that being said, all I can do is ask the question. My people came to me, Dan Coates came to me, and some others. They said they think it's Russia. I have President Putin. He just said it's not Russia. I will say this. I don't see any reason why it would be, but I really do want to see the server. But I have confidence in both parties. I really believe that this will probably go on for a while, but I don't think it can go on without finding out what happened to the server. What happened to the servers of the Pakistani gentlemen that worked on the DNC? Where are those servers? They're missing. Where are they? What happened to Hillary Clinton's emails? 33,000 emails, gone, just gone. I think in Russia they wouldn't be gone so easily. I think it's a disgrace that we can't get Hillary Clinton's 33,000 emails. So I have great confidence in my intelligence people, but I will tell you that President Putin was extremely strong and powerful in his denial today. And what he did is an incredible offer. He offered to have the people working on the case come and work with their investigators with respect to the 12 people. I think that's an incredible offer. Okay, thank you.
The president voiced his concerns about the possibility of disappearance of transit through Ukraine, and I reassured Mr. President that Russia stands ready to maintain this transit. Moreover, we stand ready to extend this transit contract that is about to expire next year, in case
Travis went good, so guess now we got to do the Trump Ice 2025 Civil War 2 Armageddon 2 Save Mormons Who Don't Want to Be Saved video. So, to rehash the video I did earlier today, as physical human beings, we physically experience reality, the 5 physical senses. Communication allows us to interpret the physical reality. And from that interpretation, we get an emotional response. So religion preys upon the stupid by lying and denying about the physical reality with false interpretations. They deny the word. They pound on the floor above. They take out words, they put words in that aren't there, they misdefine the words, and they mistranslate words, all in an attempt to lie to you and deceive you with false interpretations, for which you then are expected to have the specific feeling response that they're requiring with their misinterpretation. And then they then say that that feeling that you got is the Spirit, and therefore continue to deny the physical reality and continue with the false interpretation. And then you're convinced that they are telling you the truth, and so you give of them your substance, and they give you Kool-Aid to drink, and you willingly sacrifice your life, going around threatening other people, judging other people based upon the false interpretations that you were given. And you are no longer able to read and comprehend what you read from the scriptures directly. So, for example, for Mormons, Book of Mormon, 1 Nephi, chapter 1, verse 2. Yea, I make a record in the language of my father, which consists of the learning of the Jews. Notice there's no footnote there. They only put the footnote on language of my father. And you'll see Mosiah 1:4, which the brass plates was in Egyptian, and therefore Lehi and his sons down to the Mosiah passage were able to read and understand the brass plates in Egyptian. And then Mormon 9:32 and 33, which talks about abridged Hebrew and Egyptian. They do not put a footnote, nor do they have anything in the Bible dictionary to help teach Mormons what the learning of the Jews is. What is their religion? Who is their Christ? Is it just Christian? The footnotes will tell you, yeah, Jews are Christians. They're just in denial. They're waiting for some other Christ when Jesus already showed. Don't they see it? That's just stupid of them not to catch on. It's right here in the text. It's because of the first creed of Christianity, which Brigham Young applied to Joseph Smith in the Book of Mormon. The misinterpretation. So Mormons, when they see Jews, go, oh yeah, Jesus, Christians. It's confirmed in various footnotes throughout. Let's see if we can find one here. Here we go, 19D. Manifested plainly of the coming of a Messiah. Well, what's a Messiah? Well, it's a Christ. Oh, yeah, Jesus. Sure enough, 19D is TG, Jesus Christ, prophecies about. And so, yeah, a smart Mormon will tell you, well, you see, Travis, Christ is the Greek form, meaning anointed one. Messiah is Hebrew for anointed one. Get away from me. And they divert away from the fact that the Jews don't believe in Jesus, even though a Jew, and several Jews, write storied prophecies of a character named Jesus, or also the Hebrew version, Joshua, not Yahweh. Yahweh is a different name, not Jesus. And if anybody who remembers the other week when the dumbass tried to claim that Jesus means Yah Zeus. There is no other interpretation, like Yah of salvation, which is Isaiah's name. That's why Matthew and other gospel author of the Jews use the character Jesus because of the prophecies from Isaiah. So the person who commented wanted to be my friend, was interested in Hebrew. So I gave him a little Hebrew for him. There you go. There's some more Hebrew for you. We ain't meeting for coffee. Simple things like this. And we can do it with the whole Book of Mormon. We can do it with the first and second visions and anything else that Joseph Smith said in the Doctrine and Covenants. And then lately, because I found Anderson and Oakes both outright lie over the pulpit of conference to Mormons concerning their authority. They claim that they have authority as apostles over the whole church. and used as their justification Section 120. And they tell us, as they claim that they are quoting from it, and I'll read it as they read it at the pulpit of conference. Verily, thus saith the Lord, the time is now come that it shall be disposed of by a council, and it's referring to tithing. They didn't put the tithing part in the section. Bruce Armour Conkey did in the chapter headings. Composed of the first presidency of my church, and of the bishop and his council, and by my 12 apostles, and by mine own voice unto them, saith the Lord, even so, amen. And so they justify, see, it's in Scripture, we told you so. Don't look it up. Therefore, they have authority to be the head of the church, to be in charge of the temple, to be in charge of tithing, to be in charge of passing on authority to other people. As I've done the clip with Oakes numerous times, in which he says, if you don't have the keys, you don't have the authority, you can't give it to anybody. And yet, he and Anderson botch Section 120 on purpose to enslave Mormons with the misinterpretation so that Mormons get the feeling that they want them to have, and then they say that that's the Spirit telling you we're true. It's the High Council, not the Quorum of the 12. Just those things like that I keep doing videos for 8.8K plus over all these latter days, trying to warn Mormons. And Mormons have demonstrated that they are too far gone. That the misinformation of the church is too overwhelming of Mormons from their birth, from their conversion, that they are just incapable of recognizing truth anymore. They won't study their scriptures. They won't fact check them when they quote the scriptures as they claim. They won't run the test from scriptures to find out if they're a false prophet or not. Mormons won't do any of that, and they are being led as lambs to the slaughter. And this is where we get to the horrible exposure, thanks to a little sister missionary, Jessica, back in 2020, who posted her mission president's letter to stake presidents and parents, quoting from Dallin H. Oakes. Him again. He's next in line to be the head of the church. And I've already exposed him as a fraud, just in this video. Not to mention the 8.8K plus. Dallin H. Oakes told the mission presidents who are brand new, going out on their missions for the next 2 years, in Las Vegas, Nevada, on Saturday, March 14th, 2020, and tells them in English chiasmus the misinformation, which, if President and Sister Marquis knew English and knew how to comprehend it correctly, would have been in horror. Along with Sister Jessica. As all Mormons, over 100,000 of you who learned about this last November when a woman who does YouTube videos found Sister Jessica's website, found this letter, and posted it, and shared it with another guy on YouTube who did videos, and it was recommended by the YouTube Mormon employee down in Utah County to me. And I'm going, oh my God! And anybody who understands why I would say such a thing have not been following me from that time. And especially after in 2021 and 2022 and 2023 and into 2024 until November when I got this. Oh my hell! You bastard, Oaks. You bastard. And so again, knowing now that this is it, I'm still going, what the hell? Now, granted, I saved all of your lives from Judgment Day on 9th Ave this year. But, as we're going over, Trump is now escalating things. He listened to me, and then people complained, "What are you doing?" Dear God, this is not the end of the world. Do you know what the end of the world consists of? Death. The extermination of mankind. Blaming Jesus for it. Dear God. The second coming. That the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was merely running a test, a trial run to exterminate mankind in 2020 and 2021. And so now we know in hindsight what that test consisted of. Mass murder, theft, and attempted coup of the government. Oh, hey, there it is right there in the Book of Mormon. That is prophecy and the day and the hour, date, time, calendar stuff for those predictions of the future. 3 Nephi chapter 7. The Church of Jesus Christ got exposed by Oaks as being not just the great and abominable Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but being the enemy. Wait, that is the great and abominable church founded by the devil. People know about the devil even if they make stuff up about him. He's a real bad dude. And yet, it's the church. The Church of Jesus Christ, led by Lucifer. And it's hilarious when you know baby name meanings. Right, Nelson? Again, prophesied in the Book of Mormon, as well as the Bible. The Latin Vulgate, that is. 3 Nephi chapter 7. This was supposed to be 2020 because the death sign happens in the year 34 CE. This is the 30th year CE. So knowing, in hindsight now, as I've already been doing the videos, I already knew all these dates, and I'm going, what the hell happened? What's going on? It was close. Is it going to be Biden now? Is Biden going to be murdered? Well, Trump did get COVID. He almost died, but it didn't happen. And Marjorie Taylor Greene screamed that she wanted a national divorce, And Mitt Romney almost got assassinated at the Capitol to hang Mike Pence, Mitt Romney side by side. But it didn't happen. It's because it was a test run. Unbleeping believable. And so yes, the Book of Mormon knew this. Knew about 2020. But it wasn't supposed to be a test run. And so I then did the video not too many days ago in which I went over Joseph Smith Sr. talking to Jr. in section 10 about how the enemy, having now gotten a hold of the 116 pages, putting Joseph on timeout for the whole year so that he has nothing to do with the composition of the Book of Mormon, are going to make a new plan for the future. To say, see, it didn't happen on the day you said it was going to happen in the Book of Mormon. Book of Mormon's false. Nah, 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 nah. And so, yes, that's why the rewritten 116 pages had to be done, so that it kept the same information, but with the different stories that set a trap for the enemy who is going to do exactly what Constantine did to the Jews. And so instead of a dove raping Mary during the Roman period time to produce rape baby Jesus, the bastard son, instead it's Heavenly Father came from Kolob without a spacesuit, without a spaceship, without even a flying horse, to his 14-year-old daughter in the Roman period time, rapes her, abandons her with the rape baby, Jesus, our Savior. He's real as not real. You just got to feel the interpretations correctly. More abominable in Mormonism. Then you throw in polygamy, which is actually child bride polygamy. And I have to expose over and over again, because nobody's listening, that Joseph Smith never practiced polygamy. We have the documents by Brigham Young. Expos, what the hell, guys? We have the documents vindicating Joseph Smith and condemning Brigham Young. And you still go around publishing videos about how Joseph Smith was a rapist and a child predator and an adulterer because the church said so. God. You're falling for the same trap that Mormons do when you were a Mormon. You're not getting it. Find the primary source document, not the interpretation journal entry. Nobody's getting it. Everybody's forgotten what it was like to be a little baby. And they're acting like babies. So yes, secret combination. We are told in the Book of Mormon, do not allow secret combinations in your civilization. They will destroy you. And here we are. The test run in 2020, because the death sign was 8 April 2024. You know, the white horse. It's Pegasus. The solar eclipse on Pegasus in Pisces. Jupiter, from Revelation 12, is now in Aries, the Ram constellation. That's why he's called the Lamb. The Jews knew what they were talking about. You didn't interpret them correctly. And so, yes, there's supposed to be a national divorce. The people were divided one against another, and they did separate one from another into tribes. Marjorie Taylor Greene failed to get Republicans to back her up to say Biden is not our president and have MAGA states secede from Biden's administration to run their own state the way they wanted to, having Trump established as Jacob as their king. Bleep Joe Biden. Let's go, Brandon. What a punk kid. And everybody attached to it, just like the Karen movement. So, yeah, what's going on now is not a secession from the nation per se. It's a situation where instead of having to go through Congress to secede, and Texas always does their own thing anyway, they already seceded with Joe Biden, refusing to acknowledge Biden, and you witnessed in the news of Biden frustrated with Texas, who were doing their own thing and kicking out the FBI and DOJ, saying, bleep you, Biden. And so now under Trump is helping them and supporting them. And so what Texas started first was the stunt of a different plan than the test run in 2021 for the separation into tribes, states. And that is to gerrymander the districts to turn Texas into full MAGA, so that Democrats in Texas will not have a voice. I have never had a voice for president ever since 1988, when I was first allowed to vote in the presidential election that year. At 18 years of age, because of the amendment in the Constitution, making the age of an adult to 18 from 21. And then I still was confused back then too. Well, if I'm now an adult and can vote and can go to war to die, why are my peers, not me, I'm never touching this stuff, unable to drink or smoke until 21, which was the original adult age? Again, it's states refusing to accept the age of an adult for certain things and not for others. They're not following the Constitution as they should have. And so Texas is gerrymandering their state to turn it full MAGA, so that never again will a Democrat ever take any office of government. And this will force the Dems in Texas to do exactly what the Dems in Congress did: flee the state. Even though the Dems in Congress are doing it to protest and prevent the vote from taking place, this is a type and shadow of what's going to happen when Texas is full dominated by MAGA. Is that other Democrats in the state of Texas are either going to have to conform and comply to MAGA, or you're going to have to flee for your life, because they're going to hunt you down and lock you up, if not murder you. This is MAGA. This is what they do. We are warned about this in the Book of Mormon. Kingmen. This is MAGA. In case Mormons are still struggling with the misinterpretation they've been given, getting the wrong feelings. Well, I don't feel good about this, Travis. It must not be true. Stop it! Stop it! And so we've now been hearing that other states are now retaliating against Texas or supporting Texas by likewise planning on gerrymandering their states. And we are now seeing the separation in this form, and it's in full swing. And there is no stopping it under Trump. Trump is letting it happen. He's complaining about the Democrat states doing it, but fully supporting the MAGA states doing it. And so this whole thing is getting blown up out of proportion for the Book of Mormon reason. This is the whole plot to overthrow the federal government and put power in the hands of the individual states. And can anybody from Utah, with the headquarters of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which used to be the state of Deseret, even though it was called the territory of Utah by the United States government? Anybody have a clue as to why? The church wants their kingdom. They're behind this. Oaks got leaked. You wouldn't listen to me when I exposed it, so now you know Oaks. But you've got the wrong interpretation. You've got the wrong interpretation of the Book of Mormon. And so you don't see the pattern match. It's on. It's happening. The Book of Mormon is true. And we're all doomed because Mormons don't believe. And so it's weird. I remember the day in my videos where I first started and so. And I remember at the time when I said it, I went, did I just say that? And if you remember that video, which you probably don't, you'll see that I'm pausing and hesitating mentally about that. And sure enough, ever since then, it's been a habit. I know I shouldn't do it, and I did it, and I just kept doing it. And I'm wanting to do it again as I'm catching myself. The Book of Mormon warns of the church getting their kingdom back. And so the church wants you to believe in their interpretation of the Book of Mormon, that the Church of Jesus Christ is the correct interpretation for the Book of Mormon. So when Benson came out and told us that the Book of Mormon, 3 decades before the coming of Jesus to America, that it's a pattern match for the latter days. And he said it 3 generations before 2016, which, yep, there it was. And so here we are. Benson knows the plot, and he was warning us, threatening us, back when he was president, using the misinterpretation of the Book of Mormon, talking about the keystone, ignoring the keystone of the doors of the Salt Lake Temple. For which every time I go over that lesson, I remind you of that, and tells you that the church stands or falls on the truthfulness of their interpretation of the Book of Mormon. So obviously it falls. But they want you to believe the church is true. Their whole authority is based on it. And so they're thinking, if they succeed and they decide, well, there was nobody to molest or make us afraid and lock us up, so we're just going to go ahead and run the world with our kingdom. And so that's where 3 Nephi 11 comes in as that this is Zion, after America and the world is destroyed. And they now tell us it's 2027, because that's when the temple will be finished. So that the people of Nephi are Mormons gathered round about the Salt Lake Temple, which is now completed. It just so happens that Nelson and Irene live in Bountiful with that temple. And Mormons are marveling and wondering one with another and showing one to another the great and marvelous change that had destroyed the whole world. And as they're at Temple Square conversing about how true Jesus is, who never showed, of whom the sign had been given, as Mormons are now going to misinterpret the signs. Oh yeah, well, we did have signs. I guess they meant Jesus. That Travis guy was wrong. And then Jesus appears, suddenly comes to his temple. That's the 4 second comings of Mormon Jesus. Adam Hyundai Ammon suddenly coming to his temple, Mount of Olives, and then mushroom clouds of glory. And so then he goes and establishes his law among Mormons. We're practicing polygamy. You must slave for the kingdom. We're practicing priestcraft, but not for you. This is tithing insurance. Keep hoarding the money, etc., 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 blah, blah, blah. And it's too late to do anything about it. They now are in power. I'm trying to warn, screaming from the wall of Zarahemla, and you just want me stoned and shot with arrows. Samuel the Lamanite. Come on, guys. You got to know something about Mormonism. Can't be that dense. Dear God. And so, it cameth to passeth. The church has now ordered Trump to destroy the economy. Like I said, church is in charge. I stopped Armageddon on Judgment Day, 9th Ave, August 3rd, as Trump did some things to prevent an attack on that day. So they went to the next plan, and they got mad at Trump. And so now Trump is escalating things. As even though his tariffs took effect on August 1st, it still didn't fully implement. And so he's had to do some extra stuff. But you can see overall how he's destroying the government and also destroying the government by destroying the economy. If you destroy the economy, the government can't function and the people riot and start a civil war. You destroy the federal government, the people riot and start a civil war. The economy falls. Both are involved. So he's doing multiple ways to do this, not just one. And then he has backups and backups for backups, etc. When he throws something out there he wants to do and there's a huge backlash, and so he backs off, does it in secret or he minimizes it, and then waits for another time to go all out on that. Art of the deal. Should have trusted him. Trust his threats, not his words. But you got to pay attention to his words, because people are purposely misinterpreting Trump. As still to this day, Trump is fooling people into saying we're getting rid of the worst of the worst. No, you're arresting citizens who didn't commit a crime. But that's exactly what he means. Anybody who is on his hit list is the worst of the worst. Blacks, LGBTQ, those who are of color, those who are from the southern border, who are undocumented, and DACA and visas, all of you, the elderly, the poor, all of you are on his hit list. You are all terrorists, rapists, drug pushers, sex traffickers, gang members, mentally retarded. He's going after all of you. If you are not of the white, pure Sydney Sweeney race with good genes. Perfect timing. And so he's got concentration camps, demanding every state get a concentration camp built. Have it privately contracted. Have the police working with ICE. Lock everybody up. And people are going, well, we are doing the criminals. You're not getting it. You're not getting it. And if America finally got it and understood what Trump is saying and not misinterpreting him, yeah, we would have a civil war. We would have riots. We would have a storming protest at the White House. And we're not. Trump is unable to cause the civil war, to destroy the federal government, so that the states are in charge. He's failing. And so we've seen the job reports. And we've learned that he was purposely covering them up to puff them up when it was obvious as to the actual job report numbers were being so low, very low. 30-year low, I'm understanding. And this was coupled with a whole bunch of other things that he was throwing out. Not just the tariffs, but AI projections for the stats. That's why it was done that way. AI projected the high stats. AI is also replacing people's jobs. AI is also causing cyber attacks. AI is also telling corporations to raise prices. And AI is utterly destroying America with the false information and the projections that it is causing. That's why the first video, Bill Maher's not scared enough. And so his big beautiful bill also, $4 trillion is the latest projection of how much it's going to cost, with an already over-bloated debt. And so you've got layoffs from businesses that aren't big corporations. They have to close. They can't do it. And the tariffs are destroying them financially. They're unable to raise the prices to get people to buy their products at such high prices. And the people that are going first are the businesses that are more decorative stores. Your art stores, your high-end stores for elite rich people that the regular common folk can't buy, and other entertainment stuff collapse, except for the big corporations of entertainment who have other backups to allow that, similar to Walmart. if you know how they were able to withstand economic crises in the United States. And likewise with Amazon, it was the first challenge to Walmart. But anyway, and so the funding cuts of the federal government, cutting off grants, firing people, and shutting down the agencies, and firing people in charge of FEMA and NOAA, and then we have storms that required them and they weren't around. Lots of chaos going on. And now Trump is going to do another repetition from 2020. I just shook my head. Oh my God. There's only one thing he is not repeating that he did in 2020 now. Now that the U.S. Census is being brought back again at halftime, we have not yet been given thousands of dollars like we did in 2020 and 2021. That is not happening. Everything else is being repeated from the test run, except giving the people money. This is not a test run. That's why we got money in 2020 and 2021, is because it was just a test run. It is not a test run anymore. You don't get money this time. If you can't handle it, then die. And if you need more confirmation that you need to die, consult ChatGPT. But just like Sydney Sweeney's controversial ad, made controversial because of the interpretation of the deep state Dems, which Fox then stood up for her rescue and then went to cover the hanging of a black man, which they then went silent the next day, and then the next day, yesterday. But they went back to Sydney Sweeney for her other commercial. So yes, the census is only going to be made of those who are legitimate citizens. If you're undocumented, you're out. You don't get to fill out a census. Likewise, all universities across the land, which would have to include BYU, everybody must submit their admissions so that they then know who does not belong here. And again, the list. Only the white master race with good genes is going to be counted on the census and remain at the universities. I warned you, you don't listen, you don't believe. Here we are. We're all going to die. Dear God. And so, despite this, the big news for which I've still got to do the clips and the snapshot picture for you. Helsinki 2.0, Alaska. Yep. Remember back in the day when Trump handed the keys of government to Putin and said, Putin makes a very good point, very strong point, that I should hand over our intelligence agencies to be interrogated by Russia. Sounds like a great idea. What is he doing now? They're all getting fired. They're all getting interrogated. They're all getting prosecuted. This is nightmare galore. And so, yes, that's why I joke about Trump is going to hand over the Ukraine temple to Putin, who will then say, here you go, here's your Russian temple that you paid us for the war against Ukraine for. We're finally getting the temple in Russia. Oh my God. Why are not people rioting over this? I don't get it. What's going on? And so, yes, things are escalating against Ukraine to destroy it. Ezekiel 38, Bruce R. McConkie's chapter heading. Israel has now approved the complete takeover of Gaza. Revelation chapter 16. Again, the church is behind all of this. Oh my God. So yeah, we're going to use Lick It Up. Buckets. In the things down below. Like and subscribe. For Sydney Sweeney's Baskin Robbins ad. Failed Trump lawsuits, hearings, impeachments. Oh yeah. See, remember, it was just a test run. So Trump, they're testing to see if they can murder him. They didn't quite murder him, so all his impeachments didn't go through with the conviction. And lawsuits didn't go through, delayed, and now canceled, and his hearings now canceled. And now he's taking revenge on all those people. I warned them under Biden. He's going to do it. He's coming for you. You better do what needs to be done now, or too late. Here we are. I warned them. They didn't listen. Now they're all going to die and be hanged with Mike Pence. And so, 2 more were added yesterday. Iowa and Ohio are also joining in the other 10 that are doing this national divorce through gerrymandering. And so the Dems are making it so that MAGA gets chased out, but MAGA are tending to be more violent. And as a result, if they get overwhelmed, they'll go to the neighboring MAGA state and then tell them of the horrible atrocities of the deep state, Dem state, to rile up the MAGA states to do a civil war against the other state to try to conquer it, to make it MAGA. That's how the civil war is going to get started on all of this, as we are now witnessing in real time. And so, yeah, Trump is all in escalating things now for the Civil War to make everything happen. Let's see if there's any more. I think that's it for the national. Yeah. The rest seems to be Utah. We can go over the AI one here. Delta uses AI in flight pricing. Yeah, I told you that. All companies are using AI for their pricing. Projected prices, that's why it's going up. And so the AI thing, AI is projecting higher prices. With that. All to destroy the economy. It's a stupid economic system to think you're going to make a whole bunch of money by screwing everybody over and exterminating them. And so, yeah, it's not about that. It's all about destroying America. We are under full attack by the kingmen. So, local news. Valley Behavioral Health, working with the church, working with the University of Utah psycho wards, believe that poor people are mentally retarded. You're incapable of being rich, so therefore there must be something mentally wrong with you. That's how they think about you. The main headquarters in, I think it's in West Valley, is right there, located at the homeless shelter that was newly built for that reason. Because the government likewise believes that if you are mentally retarded, you are homeless and poor and criminal, right there by the Salt Lake County Jail and some correctional facilities also. That's how they think of you. If you're an apostate, anti-Mormon, anti-Christ corridor, you're all the same to them. You're LGBTQ, you're a different color than white. You're colored, not white. Well, white is, well, it's not really white either, but that's how Utah MAGA sees you. They are racist. They are bigoted. They are sexist. They are hateful. They are severe sex abusers. It's been exposed by the leader of MAGA. That's why he was hiring all sorts of people involved with Epstein, Musk, and Ronald McDonald K. Jr., and others who also were not part of Epstein, but were doing child sex trafficking on their own. And he got booted out. He's trying to find a new job and hoping Fox will hire him. He's not been as successful as he wants. All you have to do is bribe Trump. That's all you got to do. Just bribe Trump. And so Valley Behavioral Health, to ensnare and entrap the poor people into becoming mentally retarded for life, being part of the kickbacks for the psychologist to assign them drugs to support Big Pharma, which Trump is trying to get them to lower the prices, to destroy it, are holding a picnic. Now, cops would do this similar type of tactic, saying that, hey, if you're on this list, you can be awarded a prize. Come to the Salt Lake Department to get your prize, and then they would lock them up. That's what this is. The picnic for the poor is a trap to lock you up as a mentally retarded person for the rest of your life. They are going to promote and push you to join them. Luke, I am your father. Join me, and together we will rule the galaxy. No. He's just going to chop off your hand. And tell you that you made out with your sister. which had to be deleted. So yeah, Valley Behavioral Health are predators. Demonizing and vilification allows for justification of crimes and murder. And a sex-trafficked Utah girl, and I cry. I've been right the whole time, Mormons. If you've been following me, you know this. Even the ones who put the thumbs down and cyber attack me know I'm right. They are witnesses. But they are so far gone with the misinterpretation that they reject the truth right in front of them. They will not accept it. The church has to be true at all costs. And these enemies of mine that they've designated themselves as know this truth. Nelson knows this truth. All of them know this. And yet, the lies still permeate until the last shiz and coriantumr are left on earth. There will be no Zion if there is not a fall of the great and abominable church, a transfer to me so that I can take you in an exodus to build Zion. And this is why they're attacking me. They don't want you to live. It's not about silencing me. They know I'm right. They are witnesses of when I first spoke of the prophecies that are now happening. They know, and they're still and escalating the silencing of me. It's to murder you. There will be no good results from your death. They know this, and they're still attacking me. They're still preventing you from hearing my words so that you would get the correct interpretation, get the right feeling, and live. And so the news, day after day, just in Utah, people are dying that don't need to be dead. We should have been in Zion. You should have been safe. You shouldn't have to worry about finances anymore in Zion. And the missing girl yesterday for 5 hours, that shouldn't have happened. The other girl that's been missing for months is now feared to be sex trafficked. She shouldn't have been in that position. She should have been safe in Zion. Your loved ones who are dead, your family, your friends, dead, shouldn't have happened. You should have listened to me. We should have been in Zion. We would have been at peace, safety, and refuge, while the rest of the world descends into extermination. You guys would have been safe, and you reject me. 40,000 saw that first video in July 2017 to know who I am. And you're gone. And now you're either dead or you're about to be dead. Knowing who I am. Knowing that it all happened. I am true. And you rejected me. it's just crushing me. Because this is all I wanted. I wanted to get to Zion. Church had talked it up all in my childhood. Oh, I want to go to Zion. I don't like these white supremacist Christian nationalist peers in Southern California who want to murder everybody and torture people and bully and abuse. And so I thought, moving to Utah, I'm with my own, things should be better. Oops. Boy, was I stupid. I'm just banging my head. And why? Why Mormons? It's because of the interpretation. You're unable to read the scriptures and understand them because of the interpretation that's blinded you, that is causing this stumbling block. And the Book of Mormon warns you not to do that. So, a Kyiv construction company worker stole $500,000 by not finishing the construction work of the houses. This shouldn't have happened. Those families who were getting those homes should not have been here in Salt Lake, in Kyiv. They should have been in Zion with me. They would have not had the construction problems in Zion. They wouldn't have had to pay it. They wouldn't have lost any money. There is no monetary system of economy in Zion. The storehouse provides you with everything you need and want as long as you help supply it, just as everybody else. And the more people we get in Zion, the more diverse of the storehouse we have, and thus the more prosperous we become. So that all of these extravagant businesses don't need to go out of business in Zion. As long as we have all the basic needs fully stocked for everybody's needs. Yes, invention, creation, designing, discovery, decipherment, compositions, all inspirations of science, technology, and the arts will help prosper Zion. And none of this would have happened. So the people who are concerned about school cuts here in Utah are trying to come up with new ways to make money. And you can tell the musical preferences of the person in charge of the various organizations as they're talking about Kid Row, which almost became the title of the theme song in the description below. But since it's a Utah exclusive, we'll stick with Lick It Up. Skid Row. Whoever came up with Kid Row listened to Skid Row as a teenager. 18 and life. So yes, dear God, all about locking up kids to reform them. The funding's getting cut. You must pay us to keep it going. So yeah, anytime, any other kids shows on TV, cartoons, they're not written by teenagers. They're not written by kids. They're written by adults. And so you can see what the adults used to be involved with as kids. And the types of music preferences as a result. And so yes, that's why you get dick pics and Disney cartoons. As another dog is breaking away to escape. And St. George, I did the videos last several days warning about this, how stupid it is that you're just not getting it. And it just, oh my God. Matthew 23, Jesus goes off on the Pharisees. He's pissed. He unleashes his wrath and calls them hypocrites and says that they're whitewashing sepulchres. And that's where you have a grave with dead bodies, and the sepulchres are concealing the rotten dead bodies inside. And so you have to whitewash them to keep them clean and looking nice and pretty for the rotten dead bodies within. And so St. George, following Governor Cox's example of shutting off water in a desert during a drought, that ought to fix things. Are replacing vegetation with astroturf. Oh my God. Oh my God. So, I think that's it. I think that's it. I think. Lick it up. Lick it up. Oh, it's on the rock now. Alright. Okay. I forgot to put in the one picture of the 7,000 years ago. I ended up putting the one for today in instead. But yeah, likewise. Dumbass. Dear God. How hard is it to look at the time you're looking at, claiming that it's an exact same pattern match with the words of Revelation 12? I mean, dear God, where are the planets in Leo? Oh, well, it's whatever designation of Leo stars you want. Dear God. Stupidity of mankind is going to ruin us all. Alrighty. Oh, the dog got caught. Back to prison with you, doggy. Doggy Musk. Trying to rip off a Tesla car.